Give me a leaflet.
All right,
On
yeah.
the referendum, yeah.
All right.
Mike McDougall.
Oh, yeah.
Where his tuppence were.
Well, I'd vote no anyway.
Oi!
Oh, yeah.
And why is that? I'm asking.
Well, I think there's an awful lot of nonsense being talked, and there's an awful lot of lies being put out. Well, maybe not even intentionally, but claiming that the Constitution says that the woman's place is in a home, which it doesn't say at all.
Indeed,
when they put forward that kind of old
Yeah.
nonsense, I say, well, fecky, I'm going to
Yeah,
vote
yeah.
for
Well,
it.
you know about the interdepartmental files. You know about that, don't you?
The what?
What's called the interdepartmental files.
Well,
In other words, when they were proposing it, the various departments gave their views on it.
yeah.
You know, the education
yeah.
department, and so on.
Yeah.
And of course, they would have come up with objections or problems with it, right?
Yeah.
They have actually, they won't allow the public to see those. They're kept away from the
won't,
public,
yeah.
So well, there you are.
And McDougall, in fairness, is a smart guy, and
Yeah.
you know.
And there's a great video that your man is, fellas put out that all the leaders, but Radcar, Martin, Patrick, Paul Murphy, and who's the fourth one now? Oh, Eamon Ryan.
Yeah.
All went to fee-paying private schools.
Of course.
That tells you a lot, doesn't it?
Of course, yeah.
Right, Tom. Thanks for that.
Yes, he said. I'll be voting no, he said, because the government hates us.
Yes, yeah. Okay. I want to catch you on camera, you say, yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah. So those are the two experiences you had, yeah? Or three experiences you had, yeah?
That's
Eugene McDonald tore it up, and then you had...
then the lady with I just saluted the man going around there. He obviously does maintenance on houses around here. But no, he said one lovely thing. He said, just seeing the photograph of Michael McDougall, he said, a learned man.
Yes, yeah.
You see?
Oh yeah, okay. That's good. Good.
The referendum has driven you out.
It has indeed,
exactly,
yeah. It's been one leaflet for you. Maybe you got it already in the house, did you?
You probably put it in the house.
We do. Well, just in case then, you can always pass it on to somebody else, if need be.
Yeah, I've been listening to him on it now.
Oh, have you? Yeah.
Is that good or bad, for I say?
That's good, absolutely good.
He understands the law.
Former Attorney General.
He does, yeah. He sees that we were looking, he's been in debate with people. I've heard 2 or 3 debates now of him.
Yeah.
He kind of makes sense, like, of all the legal implications, doesn't he?
Well, you see, when you're changing the constitution, you have to have the words precise.
Yeah.
They can't be open to interpretation.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, durable relationships. What on earth does that mean? I mean,
we've a durable tennis relationship.
Exactly. So if he died in the morning, you could go and claim in his will then.
I can
claim his assets. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mr. Bible.
An honour.
Hello, Frank.
The referendum next week.
Oh, the referendum.
Yeah.
But you know something? I don't know what it means. That bloody referendum.
Yes, yeah.
It's pretty vague or something.
Vague is not the word. It is. I mean, if you're talking about durable relationships, I mean, how is anybody define that? I mean, durable, you know, like a length of string. So the Referendum Commission has said a durable relationship could be as 2 people sending you a Christmas card.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So what if you vote?
No, you see, it could have huge implications for tax, for marriage, for succession rights. Say, I'll give you an example now, right? Charlie Hoy brought in the Succession Act in 1965, right?
Okay.
Which was a huge benefit to women, because up to that time, a man could leave his property to anybody he liked.
Okay, yeah.
But that brought in a rule
that
that irrespective of his wishes, of every will he wrote,
yeah.
The wife had to get half his property, half his assets, and if there was a family, she got 2/3.
Okay.
Now it happened to my aunt, actually. She was married to a Protestant farmer, you know.
Right.
Now they didn't fall out, they were married, but they weren't living together now. So this kind of arrangement. He was with his sister and she was with her sister, that sort of thing. Yeah. But he made his will around that time. Right before that, but I mean, it was retrospective, it could go back as well, you see. But she got the shock of her life at 78 when his will was read. He had left his house and his farm, 120-acre farm, and £50,000 to his sister, and he left her just £2,000. That's all he left her. You know. So my father had to go out and challenge it because they knew it wouldn't stand up, you see, because of the Succession Act. So they said, look, we'll give it the money as long as she doesn't claim the house or the land. So that finished that then. So that's an example. So if they bring this in, you see, durable relationships. If a man has a mistress, for instance, if he has an affair, that mistress could very well say, well, we had a durable relationship. I'm entitled to somebody's money as well as his wife. See the confusion. Yes. And how will the judges interpret that?
But what's the point of it? Like, who wanted this thing brought in?
Well, you see, what's happening is that you've got what's called the woke ideology, really, you know what I mean? They want to get rid of anything Catholic, anything Christian, and, that sort of thing. And they just, it's communism by the back door, if you like, right? But Communist Party, they said that we have to destroy religion and the family and all this. We must get, so they are inherited all of that stuff. So they don't want woman. See, they're removing woman and mother from the Constitution. That's what they're doing. And you see, when that article is not enforceable, like the article which says mother should not be be forced to work outside, to force to neglect her duty in the home by going, by economic necessity. She shall not be forced out to work.
Yes, okay.
That was
right, yeah.
So that was the aspiration, right?
Yeah.
But it did mean, for instance, that in terms of tax, in terms of care, the Supreme Court said to men, it applied to carers, men as well as women, right?
Yeah.
So it acknowledged all that. Now, if you remove that, those rights are gone. The government is no longer obliged to abide by that.
Okay.
You see, so that's where we're going. And who wanted this anyhow? Was there a clamour in the whole country for it? No. Most people didn't know that article was actually there in the first place. Do you know?
Weird.
So it's you see what the base of it is. What we have in government now, who are people who they're narcissistic basically, but what they're looking for, they're sending out virtue signals, right? They want to say, look, aren't we great? They're going to bring this in on Women's Day, so the UN and the EU will praise them. They'll tap them on the back. Aren't you wonderful fellas now for getting rid of that ancient article, like sort of thing. That's what they want. They want to bask in that publicity, bask in that, that sort of thing. That's the way they think, unfortunately, So, and if you take it, just sort of discover that the five leaders, if you take Varadkar, Martin, Mary Lou MacDonald, Ivana Bacik and Paul Murphy, what have they all got in common? Besides the fact they're leaders of political parties.
What?
They all went to private fee-paying schools.
Okay. Okay.
They were born with the silver spoon in their mouth.
Right. Yeah.
And
so that gives a different attitude. Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah.
about that.
And you saw, by the way, that the Catherine Martin, the minister, had said, "Oh, this is I want to get rid of this sexist article that confines women to the home. A woman's place in the home. The word place doesn't appear in the article, right?
Okay, yeah.
And the Supreme Court Justice, who is on the Ethical Commission, who has said that their job is to prevent misinformation.
Oh yes, right.
All right.
Yeah.
So she was asked. The judge said, pulled her up on it. I said you were putting out misinformation.
Yes.
And she put out a tweet, and you should correct that. She refused to do it. And when Ben Scallon went to the three, Varadkar, Martin, and Eamon Ryan were at a press conference, right? And they were fielding questions, right? And Ben Scallon of Gript got up and asked. He was going to ask the question, why isn't she abiding by the Supreme Court Justice's position? They walked out. The three of them walked out. Yeah, I have it on video actually.
Oh my God! I don't know what we were going.
And just before that, Michael Martin was asked a question by an independent journalist, and he spent 20 minutes answering it. Where is it now? Maybe I have it here. No.
Anyway, sure, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay. Oh, they're looking for me. Okay, anyhow, the three of them walked out. They wouldn't answer, because they couldn't answer the question, you see, because they'd have to admit that they were wrong. And there's interdepartmental files on this, right? In other words, before they brought this in, different departments are giving their views on it, and they would have said, well, it's good in this way and it's bad in this way, whatever, The government have refused to release those papers. They said it's not in the public interest.
Jesus,
You aren't being entitled to know that. What the pros and cons
yeah.
No, they said it's not in the public interest.
Oh, God.
So now, there you
You're
are.
a PD anyway. Are there any PDs?
PD, I know he was the leader of the PDs one time,
Yeah.
but they're long gone though.
Are they? There's no PDs at all now.
No, well, the first PD party was back in 1957. Did you know that?
Well, I knew they were there. I didn't know.
There was a party called the Progressive Democrats in 1957.
Was
There was, but they were
I
a left-wing
thought
party.
they started them.
He started them in 1985. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but they're gone now. They're dissolved. He's independent.
It doesn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Right. By the way, his grandfather cancelled the 1916 Rising. You know.
Oh yeah, I felt it.
Owen McNeil. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Was it?
A friendly leaflet. A friendly leaflet.
Captain.
Come on.
Lord. Stop picking it.
Not leave on the referendum?
I think I'm okay.
You sure now?
Yeah.
Do you know it all? Yeah.
Well, I've read a little bit and I've watched a bit on television.
So you know what an enduring, durable ablations are? Do you know what they are?
Well, to be honest, some of the stuff wasn't very clear and I'm still unsure as to what I'm going to do. That's where I'm in the middle. I'm actually unsure as to what it means as a result of saying yes.
Well, I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
Charlie Hoy brought in what was called the Succession Act back in 1965, right? And the reason for that is there were a number of court cases where the wives were what was called the proverbial half shilling. That was the phrase, right?
Yeah.
The husbands had fallen out with their wives and they left the farm and the house to a nephew and she was out on the street. That's it.
Yeah.
Now with the Succession Act, they brought in a rule for all wills
Yeah.
that the spouse had to get 50%. And if there was a family, they had to get 2/3. So from there on, the women were sure of their position.
Sure, their
Certainly.
position.
Now, if you
Yeah.
bring you introduce enduring durable relationships in it into a phrase, that'll go by the board because a mistress could turn up and say, I've had a durable relationship with that man and I want part of his assets.
That's very plausible, isn't it? Yeah.
It really is.
And that actually, I had thought of things like that and other
Yeah.
things to do with where do you draw the line, and you're not really assured. So it is quite vague. I'm going to have to do a lot of reading, to be honest, before I decide. But I'm very much unsure. And it's things
well, you
like
see the
that
court.
that I have thought about in my head is that what's the impact of it? It sounds very good up front, but then you can think of a lot of instances where it doesn't work, like what you're saying.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the parties are supposed to provide wording in the Constitution that judges can be sure of.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
because they don't sit down and say, well, I wonder what this means. We'll make it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there has to be a strict line. I mean, another example would be we had an adoption referendum back in 1979.
Yeah.
And it was the lowest turnout ever because there was nobody against it now. There were fars, right? There's 29% turnout. It went through, of course, you know. What happened there, you see, was that there was a couple in the early 70s. They were students and they had a baby between them, shall we say, right? And they fell out and they left the baby up for adoption as they went off to Africa, right? Now they met up again and they decided to get married. And the child was adopted, right? And 7 years later, they returned to Ireland and said, "We want our child back now, please." And they went to the High Court. The High Court said, "No, you signed them away, and they're with their, you know, it'll be, they don't know you. That child doesn't know you now. You're strangers to them, you know what I mean?" So, but they went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, "No, the Constitution says biological parents have more rights than adoptive parents." The child was handed over. So therefore. We had to bring in a referendum to reverse that decision, you say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, you say you.
There's always these complex situations too, and ones that are outside of the remit that maybe, you have to really be clear, don't you, as to how it's going to work out in all these different circumstances.
Well, it's funny. I always say to myself that you say with the churches now about theology and they're disputing this and disputing it. Sport is about leisure. It's nothing about life and death. It's nothing about economic. Yes. They have very strict rules of playing and association.
Yeah.
They have to have rules that everybody fully can understand, and they're totally consistent, and there can't be any doubt about them.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Oh yeah, you have to be clear with these things. I'm sorry now, I'm going to have to
Okay,
run.
sure, yeah.
It's nice talking to you.
All right.
Thanks for that.
Sure. Bye then. Under there.
Oh no, actually, no.
Yes.
This is interesting.
What's that?
The referendum. We were
Okay.
only having a conversation about it
Yeah.
last night.
Yes.
So what is your? Are you a yes or a no?
I'm a no.
You're a no. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we were interested to hear why.
Well, I suppose it's the one word that's in there. Durable. Our relationships, which isn't defined, right?
Yeah.
Now, the trouble, when politicians put something in a constitution, the judges have to interpret it, right?
Yeah.
That's their job. Is every stage to bring in the laws, but it's up to judges to interpret them, right? But the judges have to. They want to rely on something that is something they can actually.
Define.
That's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's clear, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you take any sporting organisation.
Yeah.
They have rules of play and rules of organisation, and they have to be consistent and completely not open to misinterpretation. They have to be clear to everybody, otherwise
Yeah.
they can't function properly.
Okay.
The same with the state. I'll give you an example where where you have certainty. If you bring in uncertainty,
Yeah.
then you cause pretty much
A lot of
chaos.
loopholes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you an example. Back in 1965, and by the way, this had Ireland, in terms of women's rights, shall we say, in this case, are far in advance of England, because England don't have the same law. And this is it. You're not really familiar with that act. There's a section Act 1965, no, about wills.
Oh, about the wife entitlement.
Yes.
Yeah. My
You see, up to that
mother-in-law was
time,
yeah.
there was wills. She was left with very well half shilling.
Yeah.
In other words, husbands had fallen out with the wives before they died, and they left the farm and everything to their nephew, and the wife was out in the street.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that had to be cleared up. That
Yeah.
had to be cleared
Yeah.
up. So Charlie Oy brought in this law, which said that there was a rule applied to all wills, before or after, right?
Yeah.
That the wife always got 50%. If there's a family, she got 2/3.
Yeah. Like my
Yeah.
Friday. Yeah.
There was-
Yeah.
She was in the Ross, right? They didn't fall. I mean, they weren't divorced. They hadn't fallen out or anything like that, right? They didn't live together, but that was the arrangement they made. Just saying.
Yeah.
She was living with her sister, he was living with his sister,
Yeah.
and they were kind of eternal boyfriend and girlfriend, like
Okay, yeah.
kind of thing. So my father says success of marriage was down to the fact he had never to see her first thing in the morning. So. anyhow, when he died, she got the shock of her life. She was 78, he was 79. He had left the house, the farm, and £50,000 to his sister, and left her just £2,000. That's all he left her. And he knew very well that wouldn't stand up anyhow. Do you know?
Yeah.
Because I remember my father himself discussing it, and they were joking like, should the mistress now? We can't give any money to the mistress anymore. The wives
Yeah.
are going to get it all. Like,
Yeah.
So that's a case in point where you have this certainty. But if you bring in this phrase, in durable relationships, that completely undermines the Succession Act, right? Because you could have a fella, and he could have a mistress, for instance. He could have a relationship, and your wife wouldn't know about it, for instance. She could come along now and claim under this, hey, I'm entitled to some of those assets because I have a durable relationship. I had a durable relationship with this man.
Yeah.
So who's going to interpret that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah. There's
Um,
no. Yeah.
Sorry, Catherine's ringing.
So you see, the Constitution. There was another case back in 1979. We had a referendum in 1979, right?
Okay.
On adoption. You wouldn't recall that now,
No.
would you know? It was. I didn't vote in that. My wife or I didn't vote in that referendum. The reason is it was the day we got married.
Okay.
You know? But what happened there was that there was a couple. There were students. They had a baby between them, right? And they fell out. And then they decided they were going to go to Africa, so they left up the child for adoption. Okay,
No.
child was adopted.
No vote.
Yeah.
They restored their relationship when they were out in Africa, and they got married.
Yeah.
And they came back 6 years later and said, "We want our child back now."
Yeah.
They went to the High Court. High Court said, "Sorry, you can't. You've signed the papers,
Yeah.
and under the law,
No, the
that
family,
child is
Part of another family,
Yeah,
yeah.
part of another family. Sure, you're a stranger to that child now. How can that child would? You know what I mean? So they appealed to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court decided because biological parents had more rights than any other parents.
Right.
So they were ordered, the child was ordered to be handed over to them. So every adoption in the country was now up for grabs.
Yeah.
They brought in a referendum to reverse that court decision. And it was passed. Only 29% of people turned out to vote for it, but I mean everybody's in favour of it anyhow, more or less, you know. So it went through. But there you are, you see, that's my point. You have to have certainty in law, or else people aren't going to know what their rights are.
Yes.
And we had a case. There was a case in England there. Anne Denning. She was married to this lord, and they had quite an estate, you know. And one day, at the age of 80, he brought in a solicitor, and she didn't know what this was about. He didn't tell her what it was about. But when he died, she found out he had left everything to his servant and nothing to her.
Oh.
And she was 83 at the time. Now, she wrote a book about it, and from the proceeds of the book, she was able to get
money.
now, she did appeal it, and she got some satisfaction, all right. But I mean, in Ireland, she would have got the full thing. You know, she would. There would be no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know. So even, I mean, Dermot Fersh now, who'd be normally, he's a historian. He normally would be sort of on left-wing causes, shall we say. But he has said you can't expect people to vote for something that is uncertain.
Yeah.
That people
and
can't.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know enough about it. We were talking about it at work, and we were all saying no, but then I was saying I need to know more before I'd.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of information.
Yeah.
Well,
Something that's happening
one of the misleading things is that I mean, there's Cumbernauld O'Hara now, right? In the Article 41, I'll show it here now. See, now the heading on that is the family.
Yeah.
So all the articles are in context of the family, right?
Yeah.
So, see, the state. Oh, sorry.
Right.
The state acknowledged, therefore, to ensure that mothers should not be obliged by economic necessity to engage in labour to the neglect of their duties in the home. So the home refers to the children and the husband, not the house or anything like that. That's what the article says.
Okay.
So, you see, David Aaron himself, he was born out in New York, and there was no marriage certificate found, but there was a birth certificate.
Yeah.
But his father was a Spanish Cuban, and he died about 3 years afterwards anyhow. But the mother decided to marry again, and the new husband didn't want to probably the young David Aaron, so she brought him back to Limerick to her mother and her two brothers they reared him. So he grew up without his mother.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he put that in there, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, no woman has had. It's there for 87 years now, right? But that article has never been used against any woman in the country. No woman has been. I mean, we had the marriage bar from the 1930s. You know the marriage bar now, no?
No.
Well, the marriage bar was
like a right fool here.
Well, if a woman got married, she had to give up her job.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
She was nearly a hostess or a civil servant or a teacher.
Yeah.
That was, and it was only changed about 1972, I think. Yeah. Jack Lynch, as Minister of Education, in 1968, he dropped it for teachers.
Yeah.
But remember, we were in a different society at that time, where a single income, usually you could pay for your house by single income.
Yeah.
And the idea behind that was that if married women were allowed to stay in their jobs, the single women wouldn't be able to get jobs.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, in the back 1950s, I mean, the Dublin Camogie team won the All Ireland 15 times in a row. The reason that they were so young, so many women from the country were working in Dublin. That's why they got, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you very much.
Right.
Can we?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. And Michael tell you what, Michael McDougall is a very good. Tell you what. Wait, no, I'll tell you what. I tell you, Michael McDougall is very good now. He's there's a press conference. Where's it gone? Do I have anyone left? No, I must.
Anyway, I'll take one of those off you.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Places, so read it afterwards.
But if you go down, do you know about Gript? Gript, GRIPT?
No.
They're an alternative media outlet.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're causing so much problem for the government that last week the three government, Eamon Ryan, Neil Varadkar and Hal Martin walked out.
Oh.
We got up to ask a question about this.
Okay.
And the question, they knew what question he was going to ask, you see.
Yeah.
And what it was that Catherine Martin had said that about this woman in the kitchen, a woman tied to the kitchen because of the article. And of course she was wrong, totally wrong. But the Supreme Court Justice on the Referendum Commission corrected her and said you have to change that because you're putting out false information.
Yeah.
She refused to do it. So he was going to ask the same question to the three amigos. They just walked out.
Well, I have it now gripped, so...
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's a 4-minute video on Michael McDougall talking about, and there's 4 other barristers as well talking about it, you know. And one barrister pointed out that this is referendum is on the 8th of March next, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to remove the mother from the Constitution then, right? But Mother's Day is on Sunday, 2 days afterwards.
Yeah. Which is earlier than normal. It's usually 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Senator Michael McDowell launches lawyers.
Yeah.
No.
That's it.
Michael was dying, so I'll get
what
that
we're
off you.
watching.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Thank you very much for all the information.
another one by Una McGurk has put out Una McGurk, do you think of her name?
I know her name, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's put out a very good video. In 10 minutes she explains it all.
Oh, excellent.
Right,
Okay.
thank you.
Una McGurk. Okay.
Thanks for your help.
Thanks. Not at all now. Bye now.
Huh?
The one to being evicted from the Constitution. That's true, yeah.
And I'd say this on camera. Went to one door and an elderly man came out with his elder daughter and he said, "I'm voting no."
Lovely. That's great. We'll get that around now.
Yeah. And that's because I said they're trying to evict motherhood out of the Constitution.
Okay. That's grand. Yeah. Oh. You okay? Sorry.
Hello.
We dropped a leaflet into you there, yeah.
Oh, a leaflet. Okay.
On the referendum, have you thought much about it so far?
Well, I'm not living here. I'm going home actually.
But you're living in Ireland.
Yes, I'm living in Ireland. Yeah.
So you have a vote, yeah.
Oh yeah. What?
We're recommending a no vote.
I'm voting no.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, don't leave it any out here, just to...
Oh no, I don't need one. You're grand. I know what I'm voting.
Oh, yeah, thanks for that.
Your ancestors be delighted with you.